You're gonna be happy with the way your guys are playing.
Guys are playing, they're playing pretty well right now, and there's an awareness of scheme understanding, but more importantly, there's an awareness of playing off of each other. The communication is really good when they're surrounding the formation, they're surrounding the football. It's not just starting from ground zero the way it was when we first came in here last year. And to be quite truthful, also too, is that until you get into live reps, you can practice all you want. Until you get into live game reps, as a coach, you really don't know a whole lot about a guy on how to best use a guy. And it took a while last year. I think about that with Todd right now. When Todd comes in here, Haley, and learning that same type of a feel of a guy in an actual game rep. I don't have to worry about that right now. I've been through enough with these guys to know it. And as soon as the rookies came in, it's going to be that way the whole year for a rookie. Just getting used to playing in the game. But have a good feel for our guys, why we play a certain way, why they play in a certain spot, and then letting them cut loose, and they're doing a good job.
So that 4 takeaways in the last game by your first team offense or defense, does that bode well for the future? How excited?
Well, that's the two things that I said earlier that we needed drastic improvement on was taking the ball away, and then points allowed, and being able to cover and do a better job down in the red zone area, and they are right now. And then taking the ball away, in the opening game, in the Giants preseason game, we had our hands on 5 footballs, and it bounced the other way, or we didn't come up with some of the deflections. In the second game, we had our hands on 2 times. We had our hands on the ball and should have come up with it. Last week, it was very good from a confidence standpoint for their part of they're still going for the ball, but they got the ball. And that's important. And for us to improve as a team, we got to play off of each other. Stop them from the scoring opportunities, provide some short fields for our offense, and that was done last week, which was good to see.
We've seen Myles here in these 3 preseason games really impact, and even when he wasn't the guy that was making or finishing the play, his impact was felt. How much of what you're doing on that side of the ball really starts with him?
Myles Garrett is a very good football player, and what people don't realize is how even when he got a chance to play in games last year, how he was still playing through being hurt. That injury that he had, not very many people would have been able to play a snap the rest of the year on how ugly that thing was when he got his leg hurt. The number one goal for Myles was, as soon as I told him and we met this summer, was make sure you get to Pittsburgh and how you train. And he's done a great job of training in practice. And he's got a great job of repping in practice in the right ways of the pass rushes. He has a very good feel for pass rush. But I will tell you this, in coverage, we're doing a better job in coverage allowing him to rush. And the guys in the back end are covering a little bit longer. The quarterback snap to release is not as fast as it was last year in respect of having an open receiver. And, we haven't been doing a whole lot of pressuring on defense. We've been playing a lot of rush and coverage. It was nice to see that dominance up front of those 4 guys that were in there each time. Even when we rotated some of the other guys in there, that's very positive to see right now, and we got to continue to grow from that.
How much better is your secondary with all the changes?
They're good. It's better in that respect on the ability right now to play a little bit more man-to-man. They got to stay healthy, and a few of those guys had to get some understanding of how we do things differently than other teams. It's not always the same as when they go from another pro team to this pro team, but they fit in very well, and it's been a very positive experience for everybody back there.
Craig, one of the big developments from my perspective in training camp in the secondary was Terrence Mitchell working his way into first team. Can you just kind of outline what he did?
No, he's done very well, and not only him. There's been several of them, and he's been taking a lot of shots there in that area. So's Kerry. And Denzel's done a very good job there. You'll see I think Michael Jordan's improved. The McKinnon kid has come in and done a very good job. There's been a lot of really good guys back there that Dwayne Walker and that whole group of secondary coaches have done a good job with giving them the reps. And I probably overly called a ton of man-to-man in the practices because we want to get better at that. And so when you see in the practices, I purposely do it that way, and we'll decide how much we do in a regular game by what the opponent's like, what the matchup's like, and what the situation's right. But the reps we've gotten in practice, those guys have come a long ways, and it's helped us a lot.
How difficult are roster decision is going to come down in about 6 days here. How difficult?
Those are always
some of
different,
these
you know.
gonna be?
And I have a relationship with each and every guy that I get a chance to coach. You know, I think somebody did a study here in the off season now. After 30 training camps, up around 2,000 young men I've had a chance to coach at this level. It's always tough, you know, as long as they're fighting and doing the right things. But they're also interviewing for other teams too. And I think John Dorsey and those guys have done a good job on, you know, this will be a time that, you know, this year that maybe we a few guys that don't make our team make other teams. And that's what you want to happen. And let the competition come out and the best guy win.
Sorry. How does the quality of the depth of the linebacking core kind of compare with other units that you've had throughout your career?
We're as deep as any of I've had in the last probably decade. And when I say the depth there allows you to play multiple packages, allows you to play through injury because that's a violent position. So, you know, some of those guys are going to have some injury bugs throughout the course of the year, so we feel like the next man up is going to be good. But it also allows us to package a few more things to where we can maybe pose a little bit more threats and problems to the offense, you know. And I think you guys saw us do a little bit of the same things. I have, you know, strong respect for Wade Phillips and what he's done as a defensive coordinator in these leagues, and you've probably seen some of the things that we do there. They're complementary to how he'll play an outside linebacker at a defensive end position, and we've got a few of those guys that can do that.
How relieved were you that Denzel Ward's back injury the other night wasn't serious, and, you know, do you have
Yeah,
to worry
it's good.
about-
You know, I don't worry about those things, but, you know, I was glad to hear that, and maybe you'll finally listen to me and stop doing those stupid things the way he's trying to tackle, and tackle the way I tell him to tackle, and he won't get hurt.
What have you been telling him now?
You can ask that to Denzel.
What's the overall progress report on him?
That comes from the head coach. I don't deal with injuries.
No, I meant his just how
Well, he's
how
come a long
developed
ways.
under
He's
you
come
guys.
he's come a long ways. He's done a very good job with what we've asked him to do, and, you know, it's been a big learning curve for him on understanding some of the zone awareness type things that he has to have, because he hadn't had an opportunity to do very many things like that. But locking down and playing man-to-man, that's why he's here. He can do those things. He just needs to stay healthy. He needs to tackle the way I tell him to tackle.
Greg, when you're watching film of the upcoming opponent, do you hear is there audio? Do you hear what the quarterback is calling, or are you just watching like that?
It depends. You know, we have all types of film. You know, the film that's exchanged from team to team doesn't have any of that on there. But if it's on TV, you know, sometimes you can hear it, sometimes you can't.
Because I was just wondering, since Todd Haley, of course, is your offensive coordinator now, he was with the Steelers. I just wondered if
Who knows?
that would help.
Yeah, yeah.
I know
I
you
don't know.
thought about that.
Yeah. I would have no idea right now.
When you're in relation to what you were saying about Denzel and tackling the way you need him to, are any of these other little nagging injuries he's had this camp?
He's
related
fighting
to-
through it. It's the next step to, you know, at this level is you got to stay healthy every day. And as a pro, you have to understand there's so many things you have to do in a 24-hour day that it's your job to stay healthy. And I tell them all the time, there's two words that begin with the letter A they have to own to be a professional football player. One's accountable, and the next one's available. When you're not available, you're working on your training room internships.
But I mean, what I mean by, you know, he had a hip flexor.
That's
and
what I'm telling you the same thing. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a trainer. He needs to make sure he's doing all the things he needs to do to stay on the field. Otherwise, okay, he's not a football player.
Going back to the linebacking group, we've seen Jannard Avery climb the depth chart, made a play the other night. So, I mean, what has allowed him to kind of make the impact he's made?
You know, one of the things that's been very good about that, I think John Dorsey and his crew were really good about spotting him out. But his position coach has been here the last 2 springs and is very close to a couple of guys on our staff. So we knew a lot about him anyway. And then once he got here, having a chance to, once we were able to slow down and not try to teach him too much, now focus in on little things on a few of the rush capability things he can do, he's pretty solid in that area. And again, just like Denzel, here's a rookie that has got to learn how to stay healthy. Okay, and that's not easy to do, and you have to do everything in your power to stay healthy. Otherwise, the business is too tough and you move on.
With Ward, is it just a bad habit that he came here with?
No, it's just all young rookies. Young rookies have to understand that this is not a scholarship league. You have to stay healthy and be on the field. Okay, if you're not on the field, then you're not helping us, and that's what you have to do. You have to be on the field and play.
I meant like, is a tackling problem a bad habit?
Oh no, those are things when he's just, he has to go through the process with us, and I think this was a good enough shock that maybe he thinks that I might know what I'm talking about.
Just tackling in general. I mean, to get these DBs to use their arms and wrap up, how difficult is that?
It depends on the size of the person, and also, I'm not worried as much about, the wrap-up part of it as about getting the guy to the ground. A lot of times, what you do is you cut the guy. He should have cut the guy at that time right there instead of a 290-pound man running over his face.
When it comes to him learning to attack the ball or play the ball more than the man, something that you guys were going to have to try to teach him here, how's Denzel doing at that?
You know what? He came here and has already shown some people. I think Greg Schiano did a great job of teaching some of those things there. And he's been an example from day one on how to play the ball in the air and man-to-man, and it's kind of bled through the group. And I think Denzel set that example pretty well back in the spring. And he still does a very good job of playing the ball. He has a very natural way of doing that.
How
Greg-
about backpedaling?
Very good. Yeah, he's fine. All those things are good.
I know Demarius Randall played free safety in college, but spent the past few years at cornerback.
I really wanted to take him.
I
I think I told you guys this back in the spring. We evaluated him as a free safety when I was at the Rams, and we would love to have gotten him, as a free safety at that time. But I like the fact that he's multiple positional, and that's good that he already has NFL experience playing more things in the free safety position. He needs the experience of playing the free safety because he has more experience at the NFL level not playing that position. So this has been a good training camp and a good spring for him, getting him ready to go in that area. But I like the fact that he can do more than just play free safety. Yep.
Seems like
Boddy-calhoun, it appears that he's played a little free safety during the preseason. What have you seen from him, and what's the biggest difference? Because I remember last year.
Played him last year at some of those positions also, but just couldn't get him away from just playing the nickel position. I can't remember, but he was up near the very top. If he wasn't rated the top nickel in the league, there was a long time there in the league where he was playing so well at that nickel position. We just didn't have anybody else that could play. But we tricked some things last year where he had, even from the nickel position, had to play a free safety spot or a free safety responsibility. So he had that responsibility coming in here, and we trained him also in a backup role last year to be ready to do that. He just got more time, and I thought it was very good to see him play and play very comfortably last week.
When I asked you that question about wrapping up, I wasn't just talking about Denzel Ward. It seems a lot of DBs just try to use their shoulders and knock the guy down.
Yeah, and the big thing is you got to get him down, whether it's a cut tackle, whether it's a wrap tackle. We talk about a gator tackle where we wrap and twist and, get them twisted off their feet, that type of stuff. We're a really good tackling football team here, and I think we were in the top 2 or 3 in the league last year overall at that, not only that position, but all positions, and we just got to continue to do that. And sometimes, again, at the corner spot, depends on what college you're at, you don't get much reps at that until you get up here at this level, and sometimes when you get trucked by a big man, you learn to get lower and do something different.
It seems like Jamie Collins is rounding into his Collins old form.
I mentioned this to somebody else asked me a question earlier today about that, is that, that's the first time Jamie was ever hurt in his life, at high school and college and everything. And that's a lonely time when you're hurt, and you got to battle through that both physically and mentally. And he has made some giant strides the whole training camp, and it was fun to see the reaction on his face of getting back out there and playing in the first preseason game. And his comfortability from game to game to game has gone light years. And the play that he made on the interception, I can't coach that. That's his instincts. We coach that in a way that we'd love for everybody to do, but I don't have to say it more than once to Jamie. And, he had a great feel of what we call a poach technique, where he went back and stole a route because he knew the quarterback was going there. And it's not something that everybody can do, and that's fun to see him do that.
And how is the linebacking core working? How's Michael Kendricks fitting in?
All those guys are fitting well, and it's good position flexibility there. Okay, it's good.
Greg, how are you feeling about Peppers and his role?
It's good, and he's done very well. But again, he and DK both play so hard that there's going to be some nicks and bruises, to where it's good that you have 2 guys playing the same spot, but also those guys play You know, we have certain packages where they play like linebackers, and DK is one of the best guys I've ever had a chance to coach in the box and the run. Plays really good zone and has improved his man-to-man skills. Jabril's done a very good job overall getting that feel back in there. He's played more of that nickel linebacker position over the strong safety position, but that nickel linebacker position is one that he has done more of, and his comfort level there is better than at the box safety position, but he's now got enough reps at the box safety position that we feel like we can play either one. And then, you know, without getting too technical, it's fun when you're doing that where the offense has to figure out what they are playing and who is playing what position, and it changes, you know, some of the things that they have terminology-wise about trying to locate and see what they're doing.
EJ Gaines
Last one.
Gaines seemed like he was starting to come on.
Had a really good week until got the banged knee here in practice, but is really come on. I know him very well. You know, again, had an opportunity to drafted him and coached him for several years, so that's one plus for him where I know him and have been in games with him, so I'm not worried about what he can and can't do. I want him to be healthy.